Alright, what is going on, guys? Crypto Mackie bringing you guys another crypto video. Today we're going to take a look at ZIL or Zilliqa and going to do a more long-term look at ZIL and talk about a bunch of things that I've been talking about recently with ZIL, a bunch of different variables and components and a bunch of technical analysis, giving more of a long-term outlook on how ZIL could perform. When I say long-term, I mean probably end of market cycle. More so because obviously once the cycle's finished, it's likely we'll see a big correction in the entire market, and ZIL would also see that. So past there, it's a lot harder to make speculative moves. But as I said, this is going to be more of a look on if the market goes for another 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. This is where I think ZIL could potentially end up, and just look at like what the factors that are at play. There's going to be a lot of speculation in this. I want to outline that pretty heavily. There's going to be a lot of speculation. And it's also a lot of this is going to be given that Bitcoin is going to continue to move up and that the market cycle is not finished. Because if the market cycle is finished and 68,000 was the peak for Bitcoin, well then, as I said, most altcoins are going to see a big correction, and yeah, most coins are not going to rise in the next few months if the cycle's finished and Bitcoin drops to 40,000 or 30,000. So just want to put that out there. Also want to say this is not financial advice, so please do your own research. So if we look at ZIL, basically ever since we had the big drop, which was pretty significant, ZIL had a really significant drop. It was 80%. I think it went as low as 80%. 80% correction, and ever since then, we basically found ourselves in this kind of accumulation period from June. So nearly 6 months, or well, it has been 6 months. We've seen ourselves in this accumulation period, and we're currently on the bottom line at the moment within this period. And mind you, this is not like a small region. Like, this is still, 150% move to the top of this line, and we can still like consider this an accumulation zone for ZIL, and it's just been sitting there for 6 months, as I said. I mean, a lot of other altcoins have reached all-time highs or performed very well over the past few months, and ZIL just hasn't done that well. I mean, we still saw 140% move here, but then we came down when a lot of coins did go up in October and November. With talk about like Polkadot went and hit all-time highs, $50 and above, and a lot of other coins have done similar moves. In saying that, there's quite a few coins that just haven't quite done that yet, or maybe not at all for the rest of this cycle. So as for ZIL, it's just been continuously moving sideways, and there just seems to be a big sell wall between about 9 cents to 12 cents. And so I think if we can get out of this top line and break this top line, then I would say it's really going to be big for ZIL. And so what we can look at here is we can see, well, you could argue there's a W forming. I think that's one thing we can say, is that there could be a W forming. It's not like this is obviously part of a W, and then we could say our second W looks like this. So here's our first one, and then our second one, oops, I'll redraw that. First one looks like this, and our second one might look like this. Right, a little bigger on the right side. This because of our weird movement here, and we come back up, and then obviously Bitcoin went down to 50k, 48k, so we could see it was a bit weird here. We could see somewhat of a W to form here, which would mean that we've bottomed. And as you can see, we did hit our previous low quite recently, and we held support on that line, which is good to see. If we went lower, obviously that wouldn't be good, but we hold support, and so we could just say that, well, we've just found ourselves in this same spot. And what happened last time we were in this spot? Well, ZIL pumped 155%, which is really solid. Went to 13 cents, which is a really good move. It was like very similar on the way up as it was on the way down, kind of a steady decline and then a steady growth here. So that's what we could be on the cards for ZIL. There's a bunch of things I want to talk about today. One thing I want to look at is, let's look at how ZIL compares to Bitcoin. And so if we take Bitcoin from January 1st, so the start of the year. This is the price at the start of the year. Let me find the date. Just there, the start of the year, Bitcoin went up 100 120% to its high in this previous run, because we're considering this bull market as double peak cycle. So we had our first leg of the run, overpriced, come down, and had a second move. So ZIL pumped 120% since January 1st. And if we take from ZIL, January 1st, which is about here, right here, ZIL pumped 270%. So 270% as opposed to 120%. We can say that, I mean, altcoins tend to outperform Bitcoin. Majority of people know that. But we can see that ZIL tends to outperform, or did outperform historically, Bitcoin by over 2x. So what I'm implying by this is that if Bitcoin decides to continue its move and create new all-time highs and maybe hit 70, 80k, it could hit 100k. And if it hits 100k, that's a 2x from where it's at now. Well, then we can see ZIL move up 200%. If Bitcoin moves up 100%, ZIL could move up 200%. A 200% move puts it up here at 20 cents. We break the 20-cent line, which would be awesome to see for ZIL. That would also take us out of this W, break out of this W, if that were to play out and head higher to 20 cents. I'm not doing too much short-term predictions as well, because the short-term is just so hard to predict. No one can actually predict the short-term. So there's a bit of confluence here. We can see our W price target would be up here at 21 cents. And as I said here, 200% move from where we're currently at takes us to 20.8 cents or 21 cents. It's a bit of confluence there. We can see maybe if we can have a strong kind of month or two and then break out, then we can see an even better month and head to 20 cents. And that's where we can see some key resistance there until we move higher. So some other things I want to look at. Well, let's look at the RSI, the Relative Strength Index. I think it's very important and very valid. You can see I've done a bunch of technical analysis over the time. There's a bunch of lines drawn, but the key message here is you look at the bottom. This is our RSI. We're currently at about 33, but we went as low as 27, which was about exactly the same point there. We can draw a line straight across here, and you can see it's about perfect. We hit this line about the exact same. And so, well, as I said before, historically, when we hit this point before, we pumped 140%, 150% from that point, and we're at this low on the RSI, and it's a very low point. To go this low is very hard to get on the daily. And we can also look at the weekly time frame. So here we are on the weekly. On the weekly, we're actually lower. We're actually lower than we got at this point here. And obviously the larger time frame, or the more valid it tends to be. And yeah, we're lower on this. And as I said, we saw a massive move coming off this low here. And to be as low as, 40 in the RSI is quite hard to get to. So this could just heavily indicate that we're on for a really good few months, and could head much higher, right? I mean, we saw this massive move take place, and we were only as low as 50 on the RSI. We had support on the 50 RSI, and we just went up from there. So to go this low, well, we could be on for a good few months. Again, it's going to be so dependent on Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, as I said, if the market's finished, well, like the market cycle, if it is done, well, then I don't think this will play out. It will probably just head lower and might enter like a bear market. And in that case, it's going to be pretty ugly, but I don't believe that's the case. And I think Bitcoin's going to head higher, which will give altcoins a push to head high as well, which means ZIL can get that push to complete this W and head higher. So another thing to look at is the ZIL Bitcoin chart, and we can see ZIL's just been in this steady decline for quite a while. Basically back here since May. There's been a couple of weeks out we can see on the upper line, but we can see we recently broke out. And more importantly, not only did we just break out, but we actually have gotten some support, right? Some support here and some support here, and we're now actually coming off it. So if we can stay out of this channel and head higher, well, this could heavily indicate a big move for ZIL against Bitcoin, right? That ZIL could start to outperform Bitcoin and head much higher, coming off this massive just downtrend, and ZIL just not performing well, and Bitcoin outperforming ZIL. But you don't want that, obviously. You want altcoins. Well, altcoins should be outperforming Bitcoin because they have a lower market cap. So this could also just indicate altcoin season in general as well. Is another way to look at it. And we can see on the RSI, like ZIL against Bitcoin has gone low. Low as 30. Right, the last time we saw that was here. So we saw this point here, which saw a nice move for ZIL, and then the other points were here, which we saw another nice move. So we saw some good moves here. That's 50%, and this one was nearly 50% as well. So some solid moves, and it doesn't look massive because of like the size of the chart, but been some good moves for ZIL. So the thing is, if we come down back into this channel, well, obviously that's not ideal, but as long as we hold this as support, I think that's very bullish for ZIL moving forward. So here's the last thing I want to speak about as well for ZIL. So we look at this. I did a video on this. I'm not sure when. I think it was maybe like a few weeks ago. It seems. I don't remember. It was a few weeks ago, and we made some very heavy speculation and talked about, well, where could ZIL be going moving forward? And I brought this up today and I had a look at it. I'm like, we can see that we've held this line perfectly. Like we've gotten the support here. You can see that we've gotten the support. And as I said, there's been historically lines of support on all these blue lines. If you're wondering what these are, it starts down here at 0.2 of a cent and just doubles. So I'm on the logarithmic scale, and it's just showing how ZIL's performed in the past. And the thing we talked about was that it tends to pump 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and then it'll come down and accumulate. And then again, we pumped 1, 2, 3, we've come down and accumulated. And that's what we're doing. We're currently in this accumulation period. There's this there's somewhat W starting to play out, and we're currently holding this line as support. So again, it's intense speculation, and I'm not at all saying that any of this is guaranteed. I'm just looking at possibilities and what the probability is of things playing out. But what we can look at is what if ZIL does the third move. So we had the 3 moves here, 3 lines, accumulation. Then we went 1, 2, 3, accumulation. What if we go 3 again? That puts us up here to 50 cents. It's a 54-cent move for ZIL. And it's not going to be a straight line. Obviously, there's going to be pullbacks in that time, but it has a price target up here at 50 cents. And then we could come down. The other thing I spoke about is that, well, this in the first move, we came down 1 line and accumulated in that period. The second move, we came down 2 lines and accumulated. So we could see this as the top of the market cycle and then come down 3 lines because the market has ended and find ourselves in this period here. Find ourselves in this section and accumulate here where we're currently at, because then the market cycle's finished. When the market cycle's finished, we're most likely going to enter a bear market, and there's most likely going to be a pretty heavy correction. I mean, we've already seen ZIL correct, as I said, 80%. So this move here would be the lowest 80%, and around this region 70%. So I'm not saying to prepare for a big 70-80% correction. It depends how slow we moving forward. Like if we continue to move up in a very slow, steady pace, well, that will decrease most likely the length of the correction we see and how long the bear market lasts. But if we go super parabolic, if Bitcoin goes very parabolic, and most altcoins do, well, then it's likely coins become overpriced, the market becomes too volatile, and that's when we see those big corrections. And that's why we get bear markets. As we've seen, coming off the 2017 bull run, there was a big correction and a big bear market, and the previous cycles before that. But this is just something to consider. I mean, we could sit in this region even further. We could test this line again of like 12 cents and then maybe come down and just sit in this line. But I'm just saying this line here at about 6 cents is just important to hold. Because if not, then we could go as low as the next line, which is 3 cents. And we obviously don't want to see ZIL go down there. That would invalidate our somewhat pattern that we've found ourselves in. So we wouldn't want that. The other thing to look at is, I said that after each move, there's kind of this triangle, this descending triangle taking place, and you can see it. We had the next move here, and now we have the triangle. The triangle's forming. So you can see that there was the move like this, heading up, which is shown here, and following that was the triangle. So take what you will from this. You could just say this is just the most speculative thing you've ever seen. I'm not saying this is guaranteed to play out. Just looking at what's happening in the charts, I think this is just cool to look at. It's nice to take like the logarithmic version of charts and find patterns and find trends. And this is a trend that's happened twice. They seem quite similar. So this is something to watch, and we could get a breakout, right? To break out, we need to break like 9 cents. So that if we were to break out of this to the upside, I'd definitely make a video talking about that. And then if we could hold it as support and head higher, but I'd say that just would be extremely bullish for ZIL. If you look at the last breakout, there was no confirmation from the weekly. We broke out and we just went up, right? And we didn't get a red candle till quite a while after we had already pumped from the breakout 70% until we saw a red candle on the weekly. So it's gonna be something I'm watching. Again, if we break through this and head lower, that's obviously gonna be quite bearish for ZIL. But hopefully we can hold the line, head higher, and yeah, if we could break out to the upside, I think that'd be just very, very, very good for ZIL. So I might leave the video there. I hope that you found this video entertaining, at least somewhat useful. Or again, this is not financial advice at all. Please let me know what you think ZIL might do. Again, I want to say, like, a lot of people spoke about how there's a big sell wall around 9 to about 11 cents. And I think if Bitcoin can have a parabolic move, which we haven't seen happen, to be honest, really at all this year, if we can see Bitcoin have a parabolic move, altcoins can go even more parabolic. And Bitcoin could pump 10% in a day, and we can see altcoins pump 20, 30% in a day. And so this sell wall could just be smashed if that were to happen. Let's say we trend higher for a little bit, around 8, 9 cents, and then we pump that 20, 30%, maybe 40% over. That wouldn't happen in a day, most likely, but it could happen over a week. 40% in a week could happen, and all of a sudden we're at 13 cents. And we could just smash down that sell wall. And once we get through that and break through this top line, then this is obviously key resistance, and we could realistically look for 20 cents again and look for these higher levels. And there's going to be pullbacks along the way. We look right here, big pullbacks, right? 50% pullback, and this one was a 50% pullback again, and then straight away we broke an all-time high not long later. So it can happen very quickly for ZIL. So I'll be watching this coin. I'll probably do like more short-term updates for ZIL. I might not make like this long-term video for maybe a month. As I said, I'll be watching some of these lines, like if the ZIL Bitcoin line, if we break back in, I might do an update video, or if we can break out of this line, I think is very important for ZIL, and we can see ZIL move higher going forward. So again, let me know what you think of this video. If you found it useful, let me know, or if you found it interesting. Please like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later, guys. Enjoy.